Anyway. All right. Welcome back to the Forfeit Fatherhood podcast. I am back with a good guest, right? Like dope guest. Real estate investor in general, and Super Bowl champion, Greg Orton. What's up, G?
What's up, man?
Man, how you doing, brother?
Good, man. Good. Enjoying this good weather here, SoCal, and man, good thing that the Corona thing is in and up. Getting done. People outside running around and feeling good, man.
Good. So you get out a little bit now, or you staying home? What's your scenario right now?
Right now, just home with my two boys, and then so we get out. Go outside to the park, go out, and my oldest is in baseball right now, so making sure he's doing good, helping with that. Going to start basketball soon, and then just I think they'll probably he'll start kindergarten in the fall.
Okay.
And then we're just now probably going to put him back into daycare next week. So
okay,
very excited about that.
Excited about him going to daycare.
Yeah, man. Yeah, they've been with me, the whole time, and just letting my wife. My wife runs her own business, so letting her do her thing, and getting my stuff done and watching them. So
yeah. I know.
Missing the teachers.
Yeah, I know. And then they get to socialize too with, get their friends and all that. Like, it's cool hanging out with your brother and your dad, but every once in a while you want to hang out with somebody who don't share your last name,
Yeah. Exactly, man.
All right. So how old are your boys?
My oldest is 5 and my youngest is 2.
Okay. So, all right. How is that experience? How's that with two boys, 5 and 2?
I mean, it's good, man. It's a dream come true for me. Like, just got my two boys, teaching them, everything, starting them small and just to be able to see them grow. And it's just amazing to see them learn and pick up things and, and talk and get frustrated, get happy. It's just a blessing in general, man. Truly, thankful for it.
Yeah. I feel the same way. I don't have boys, obviously, but I feel the same way. Having the opportunity to watch them experience things for the first time, to kind of give them some guidance on how to act, and just, the two of them kind of being each other's best friend is really cool for me, because I have sisters, but in my house it was just me, right? Like I got to kick it with my sisters on weekends when I got to go on visits, and sometimes in the summer we cross paths for kind of randomly, and be in the same spaces, but not until we got older did we really get to spend that real time together.
Right.
So it's really cool for me looking at my girls, and they got somebody to play with all the time. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And even sometimes when they don't want to, like, they're like, "Yo, leave me alone. I'm tired of talking to you."
Yeah.
But that scene is so cool to me to see them experience that way, and to have like a built-in best friend. Like, that's dope to me.
Yeah. It's awesome, man. I mean, them just playing together now. My youngest is like getting tougher because he's getting hit with pillows from my oldest, and then he's just running around, running with the big guys. So it's amazing to see, man.
Yeah.
Truly.
Yeah. So you got the two boys. Are you and your wife, are you done, or are we going for 3? Are we trying to
Man,
build it?
I'm done, but she wants a girl. So
got it.
I'm good, man. I'm good. But I'm whatever's in whatever God blesses with, man, I'm with it. I don't to me it doesn't matter. I'm just enjoying the process, man, enjoying just having kids, and they just feel like, life is full circle with them. So
Yeah. Okay. All right. I mean, I heard you mention, it being a blessing, and, whatever kind of God's will is in terms of what happens with the next one. What's your kind of feeling on how you use your faith and kind of religion in raising your kids? Are you kind of like, not Bible thumping, but like, are you kind of using the teachings and using that to kind of guide them, or what's your stance with that?
Yeah, just mostly just trying to get them to raise them to be just good men, you
Got
know.
you.
And just, I grew up differently. I grew up like, my dad was hard on me, and we got into it a lot. So taking that, with I'm more reserved and more calm, and I'm more just about teaching. So I'm not like, giving whoopings or getting them, cussing them out or none of that. It's just all about teaching, being very patient with them, explaining it to them, if they're being disciplined or sent to the room, why this is happening. Do they understand why this is happening? So just to make sure that they're good people, man, and try to raise them better than me, to be better men than me, is the goal.
Right. Right,
You know.
right. Yeah, I definitely feel like it takes a good father to raise a good man. You know what I mean? Like there's definitely moms
Yeah.
that are doing it. But a mom can only teach you so much about being a man, and you kind of need a father to kind of give you the full spectrum view of what it is. And so that's dope, man. My like a kind of similar situation. My dad wasn't super well, yeah, I was gonna say he wasn't hard on me, but he was. He wasn't crazy hard, but he was definitely harder on me than he was on my sisters. I think my reprieve is that him and my mom separated, and so I wasn't in the house with him all the time. But I definitely got them phone calls, and those weekends when I was at his house was like, yo, you better tighten up.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
and so the same thing. Like I see sometimes in myself, like I'll hear myself say something and I hear his voice. Like in my head, it's his voice, and it's like I'm like, oh man, I gotta tone that back. I gotta pull that back and let me explain what I meant by that. You know what I mean? Like it came
Right.
out in a frustrated way, but what I meant is, this, and let me explain why. And I kind of battle with that a little bit because my parents are old school, and it's like, kids are speak when they're spoken to, and I don't have to explain myself to you, like those kind of things. And like I find myself uh trying to teach so much that I'll hear their voice, like I don't have to explain myself to you, or I don't give them the why, or because I said so sometimes, and I'm like, ugh, I don't like that. I didn't like that when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Hold
Yeah.
on, let me talk to you for a second. Wait a minute, that's not what daddy meant. Well, it's what I meant,
Right.
but I didn't say it the way I want to say it. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
trying
Yeah.
to make sure that I am being the father that they need me to be, right?
Hmm.
And they're different. Like I don't know about your boys, but my girls are different. Like they're a lot alike in a lot of ways, but in terms of like how they handle things coming from me emotionally, they're very
Hmm.
different, right? Like one of them, I can say whatever, and she's like, okay, dude, what, like, you know what I mean? She can handle it. And the other
Yeah.
one's
Yeah.
it's crippling when I say she did something wrong. She's like, because she wants to like please, kind of thing. Like she wants to be perfect. And she hates when she's wrong at anything, like anything at all. Super
Hmm.
competitive, hates to be wrong. And so if she does something wrong and I say something to her about it, she's broken up, like just completely broken. And so it definitely, when you have multiple kids, you got to kind of be a multiple father. Like you still got to be
Yeah.
you and the way that you want to father, but you father each one differently. And that's been one thing that, I've been kind of trying to perfect, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
I don't know that it's something that you ever perfect because they're going to be changing and you're going to be changing. But I know that's one thing that I struggle with a little bit early on.
Yeah. 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 Mine aren't old enough. Well, my youngest isn't old enough to, I mean, he's just now developing like his personality.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to, and then my oldest is completely different. He's, it looks exactly like me as a kid. And, but his personality, he's really, really open. I'm way more introverted,
Okay.
and he's like a social butterfly. So we go to the
Gotcha.
park, he's saying hello to everybody, and, and wants everybody to play with his toys and this and that. So he, needs that interaction. With me, I'm more of just a loner
Right.
type person. So it's like, um, and it teaches me, just how to raise them and certain things to not do and certain things to do, and you try it, and try and fail. So it definitely is a process for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So kind of piggybacking a little bit off that, like what they're still kind of young, but being a father of a 5 and a 2-year, what are some of like your bigger struggles with that? Like, what are some of the things you come up against?
I think the biggest thing is just patience. Um, I'm not a very, very patient person.
Okay.
So they've taught me a lot of patience. So, I grew up in a household where, it's like they say at one time you got to do it,
Right.
you know. So, and me coming from that, I have to kind of kill that thought process and you're gonna repeat it 5 to 10 times,
Right.
like, go use the bathroom, pick up your shoes, where we put our food at when it's done, and keep repeating yourself. So I think the biggest thing to sum it up is patience, man. And, that's what it's teaching me um, to have and to learn that skill very, very much.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel you, man. I feel you. I think that's something that everybody has to kind of deal with, because I think what I had to realize, my wife kind of put me up on it, is like, uh, and she reminds me all the time, like, that she's 6, like, I'm like,
Yeah,
I'm
right,
talking to her
right,
like I would understand it, or I'm asking her to do it the way I would understand it, as opposed to, like, breaking it down to her level, right?
right, right.
And even today, we're going to the park, and I'm like, dog, put on your socks and shoes. Like, what is taking you so long to put on your socks and shoes? And she's like, turning them inside out, and like she wants to put them on a certain way. Come on, man, just put on your socks and shoes so we can go. Like, and
Yeah,
I'm trying
yeah,
to, like, to just be patient, because I know, like, look, the longer it takes, it's gonna be hotter. Let's just go. And I'm ready. Your sister's ready. What are you doing? And it's just, you got to be patient.
yeah,
And
yeah.
she, they like I said, they're different. They kind of work in their own little ways, and she's a little more quirkier about stuff, right? So if her sock is on the wrong way, she ain't feeling it. So she
Yeah,
got
yeah.
she got her
Same here.
own she got her own little thing, right, where she puts it on, and if she ain't put it on the right way, it's gonna bother her. So I had to learn just to, let her do her thing the way she's doing it.
Yeah.
And again, you just kind of parent them differently, and that's cool. So, like, um being home with them during the pandemic, like, prior to that, where they were going to daycare, both of them, or
Yeah.
just the older one?
My youngest was he
Still
was
pretty
what,
young.
1? Yeah, he was 1. So he had a nanny. So we had the
Okay.
nanny with him. And then when the pandemic hit, we're with them all day, every day, just like everybody else.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
How was that? How was it, like, that transition into, being a work at home dad kind of situation?
Um, it was different, man. At first it was, I think it was tougher for my wife, but my mindset was it's just a season.
Right.
So, I just looked at it as an opportunity to spend more time with them. As they get older, most of their time is going to be at school and with sports. So just like with my oldest, I mean, he was at school from, I drop him off in the morning like 8:30 and don't pick him up till 5. And then with the nanny, it was kind of like 9 to 2. So most of the time you're not seeing them. So during that whole time, man, it was just to see the kids and be a parent, and we and just to cherish that time, and uh as far as work, a lot I do a lot of work from home and kind of have my own schedule. So me and my wife just kind of planned out our days, like, okay, you have this lot of time, I have this a lot of time, and then we meet at this time to be as a family. And that was pretty much how it was structured. um so it was tough, but now as things are getting back to normal, I'm glad they're going back. And and then, like I said, it was just a season, of time to, look at it positive and to just be with them more.
Yeah, yeah, that's a really good perspective to have. Like, the pandemic did definitely, like, slow a lot of things down around us, and
Right.
kind of gave us the opportunity to see, maybe what was more important, for some of us. And then, and like you said, you got more time with them, right? Because, like,
Yeah.
prior to it, it was just what they did. They were just gone during the day, and you didn't notice it one way or the other, right? And then all of a sudden, now they're home all the time. Like, dang, I was really missing out. And that I mean, that was a big one for me. Is like, you know, because I mean, we worked together a little bit, and like, so I
Mm-hmm.
was at the gym at 9, some days, like 8, 6 in the morning, and then not
Mm-hmm.
getting home until like 9:30 at night. And so for
Man.
me, like being able to like be home and have like
Yeah.
I haven't had I at prior to pandemic, I hadn't had dinner at home in almost a decade. You know what I mean? Other than the weekends, like dinner time was like a foreign concept to me. Um,
Sheesh.
and so, being home when they wake up, being home when they go to bed, like it was amazing, right?
Yeah.
Because the same situation, like I would drop them off at school. I had enough of a break to pick them up, drop them off at home, and then go right back to work. So those are like it was
Yeah.
like little 15-minute spurts is when I got to see them, and then it didn't happen until Saturday morning. Then I got 2 days with them. Um,
Yeah.
so
Crazy.
yes, so it definitely opened my eyes to how much I was missing out when I felt like I was really present. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because I was really intentional, and I always try to be really intentional about the time that I spend. I just didn't realize how much or how little time it actually was until I got all of this time.
Yeah. 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 I mean, same here, man. And yeah, I'm always just aware of that as well. Like if I'm doing something, I'm trying to work on something or learn something, and they're like getting bored or want to do something, I just drop what I'm doing and hey, let's go outside, let's go on a hike, do a lot of hiking. Um, let's just go to the park, let's go like build a rocket, make a race car track, whatever they want, and I mean it's just like we only, I'm very aware of like time
Yeah,
just in our life. So they're not going to be 5 and 2 much long. It's going to be 10 and 7 and 10 and 8. And then going to be 18 and 6. So I like to be there for all of that and not miss all of that because it's just going by really really fast, man.
right,
Really really fast. So I like to cherish that and just enjoy it, and
right.
not be just working all the time.
Yeah, that's one of the things I talk about a lot with other dads is like we don't really get the playbook necessarily from I mean from our fathers, and maybe not even from like father figures around us, the playbook on
Hmm.
how to be a father. But the one thing that they make sure they tell us is like you're gonna blink and they're gonna be an adult. You know what I mean? You're gonna
Yeah.
time
Yeah.
goes so fast. Like, my son just the other day, he was like 5 years old, and now he's getting married. And that's one of the things that they do
Yeah.
tell you. And it's something that I don't think a lot of us take heed of, right? We're
Right.
a lot of times so interested in chasing the bag, for lack of a better phrase, or trying to build our careers, or into this interest or that interest. We miss out on the fact that these little people are growing up around us, and we're
Yeah.
missing so many things. So that's really
Right.
dope. That's really dope to hear. You know what I mean? Like you drop it and let's go do what we're doing. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm really big on that. Really big, for sure.
Okay. You mentioned you work from home. I have a little bit of an idea of what you do, but
Hmm.
what are you doing? What are you into?
Mostly, man. I day trade for a living, so I day trade the futures market mostly, some equities as well, and I have a business that is called online arbitrage. So basically, buying stuff from retail like Walmart, Target, deals, and then selling them on Amazon, selling them online, and then also have real estate in Ohio. So
Okay.
just managing that, with the rentals, and so most of my work is at home, in front of a computer, like I am now. So and thankfully I'm able to spend a lot of time with them, and and that's mostly what I do,
Okay.
and love it for
Dope.
sure.
Dope.
Yeah.
Dope. Yeah, I remember when I first got into the market and started getting into to investing and trading a little bit. You had started to get into futures a little bit more. So now
Yeah.
to hear you say like I'm a day trader with the like now you're full on into the futures now. Like that's your thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I've been trading like every day, like day trading since 2015, August 2015. So, but it
Okay.
was mostly just stocks,
Right.
right? So, I got into like options as well. I liked options a lot, got good with it, but once I got into futures, I was like, oh, this is like so different, because you don't have that I guess that like time. In options you have like a theta, which will kill the options pretty
Right.
much. But just like the derivatives, being in the derivatives market with that leverage to be able to, okay, say you want to make a certain amount of money, you have to put up a lot of money. That's what the derivatives for. They just allow you to have that leverage to be able to trade. So um, I've went deep, 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 deep into it, trying to master it, and it's just been a blast, man. I love it. Really, I have a sports background, so it's really analytical in that way to be able to think, to be able to think in probabilities and analytical, and that's the challenge that I love with it for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll get to that sports thing. So hold on to that. We'll come back to that in a second.
Yeah.
But
Right.
so you're from Ohio though, right? So is that why you kind of got into the out of state investing?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm from Dayton, Ohio, and then but I live in LA. So basically real estate in LA is crazy. You
Right.
know, um, I do have a home here, but when I was able to buy my home for here and I can get so many more in Ohio, it just made sense. And then I knew the area. And
Yeah.
then now, with the whole inflation and the Fed pumping so much money, now it's just the prices done skyrocketed. So I was
Yeah.
able to, take advantage of just basically refinancing and putting the money, elsewhere.
Right.
But yeah, for sure was just the Midwest to be able to get more bang for your buck was
Yeah.
my thinking with it.
Yeah, it's crazy what's going on in the market. I was just talking to a friend of mine the other day that's a real estate agent, but then even see it for myself. We refied earlier this year
Mm-hmm.
because we had like it's so much equity had built up. It was like, okay, let's do something with it. And this
Yeah.
was in February. A house around the corner from us, like literally, I can throw a rock from here and hit it. It just sold for $100,000 more than our appraisal in February. And it's the same
Yeah.
layout. It's literally in our development, there's only like 4 different like structures, right? It's the same
Right.
exact one as ours. And I'm like, yo, we might need to move. Like we might need to go ahead and take advantage of the opportunity and get out of state. But
It's crazy,
we
man.
love
It was
California. We're not
crazy.
going nowhere.
Yeah, like ours, we bought a lot in like 2019, and
Hmm.
then out the blue, like earlier this year, my agent was like everything you bought, like I'm selling them like 60% more than what you bought. So I'm like, oh, what? So she's
Yeah.
like, I don't even have inventory. Like his stuff is going crazy. But the good thing is that all of them are rented, so we've been able to up our rent, for each home
Hmm.
like $200 to $300 more. So that's the beautiful thing with inflation is that if you own assets, they're going to keep appreciating, and you're able to do something with that equity as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. How did
yeah.
you get into real estate? Is that something you kind of always knew you wanted to do, or it just kind of fell into your lap?
Man, I mean, so basically, I'll rewind back when I okay, so I wind back. So after I got out the NFL, um, basically I found a mentor. It was
Okay.
basically a guy that was my wife, I was kind of depressed. So my wife sent me a video of a guy just he was an entrepreneur and he was like, hey, she sent me a video just about always setting goals. So like new goals. Right.
Hmm.
So I felt like my life was over. That's all I thought was football. I was so into it. Like when
Right.
I have like an obsessive mindset. So when I'm into something, I want to master it. I'm all in. So when that was done, she sent me this video of this guy. He was an entrepreneur talking about that. Basically, long story short, I signed up for his program, launched my first business, right?
Okay.
Um, Started making really good money with that business. So then he was like, this isn't all that I know. So he was like, what you need to do is to basically insulate yourself is you need to, he taught me about the earned income to passive income.
Mm-hmm.
And this was like 2014. So he mentored me on the market. And then he started mentoring me on trading. And then once my business started making money, he was like, okay, this is where you're going to funnel the profits into to protect you even more. So now you have that passive income coming in. So once I got that, I was like, oh, I want to build to that in everything that I do. So he basically taught me that, and I've kind of went into just the wormhole of, learning everything about it and just trying to accumulate as much as I can with that.
Right.
And it goes even deeper. You got your kids and everything, so that having those assets making money for you, you want them to make it for your kids as well.
Right.
So that if you can't work or anything happens, like a pandemic or anything, that passive income is still coming in. And then, and then this is my first time really dealing with the asset prices going up so much. So now I'm like, oh, I bought this. We were already getting the cash flow every month from them, but now they've risen so much. I can either sell or, refi, take the cash out and go get more.
Right.
So, and then it just becomes a game, just like I was into football so much. Now this is just like a wealth building game.
Right.
That, I just want to learn so much about and keep going,
Yeah. Yeah. So now you're at the yak stage of it, right? Like you ran the route, right? You really got into running the route, and you understand that you caught the ball now, right? You're consistently catching the ball. Now you're being elusive and getting those extra yards. That's dope, man. That's super dope.
Yeah.
That's super dope. All right.
Yeah, always learning, man.
Yeah, man. Like, so you got the arbitrage, you got real estate, you're investing. Anything else you're doing that I'm missing?
I mean, that's pretty much it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, pretty much it.
Okay.
Sure.
All right. I want to make sure we don't miss anything. You're super investor over here.
Yeah.
So you said a couple of things that I can attest to. Like when you do something, you go all in, kind of mindset. You're a hard worker, right? I would definitely say you're the hardest worker in the room, whatever room you're in. And if you're getting outworked by somebody in the room, they're probably passed out not too long after, right? Like I'll just talk about like the first day we met, right? I was out at Chafee, I think.
Chafee, yeah.
And I was training somebody else, and I looked to the side, and I've heard you before I saw you, right? Because you were on the side field, but I heard you, and I'm like, damn, somebody over there getting it in. Like, this is wild, right? And so we as we're running the drills, I was working with a D lineman at the time. We're running the drills, and as we're getting closer down to where you are now, I see you kind of coming around the corner, and I can tell you're running routes, but it ain't nobody throwing the ball. Like, you're out there in the route tree at 100 miles an hour by yourself, right? Like, I'm like, yo, this dude is putting in, like, running hard though. You know what I mean? Because you see somebody outside running routes, and they kind of doing it, they kind of, half-assing the drills a little bit. And they're by themselves. Nobody's making them do it. There's no coach there. Nobody's on them about, how they run the route. But I mean, you was out there full throttle, right? So I'm like, I tell Joe Bergman, like, yo, Dave, I'm gonna go talk to this dude real quick. Because you know what I mean? I'm out there all the time, right? Or I was. I'm not out there all the time anymore, but I'm out there all the time. I see people out here all the time, and nobody came off the way that you do. Right? Mm-hmm. Like, nobody was working on their craft with the amount of intensity that you were. So I'm like, let me go talk to this dude. And so I just went over and was like, yo, what's up? We kind of exchanged little pleasantries and all that. And I told you, we train at the gym down the street if you want to get inside somewhere instead of, being outside. And I will say to this day, like, you were the kind of athlete and obviously still the type of person that would, like, if we got 100%, well, we're gonna get 100%. You know what I mean? Like, you're gonna get blood from the turnip, kind of like, on those challenge days, like, you literally took it to the floor. You know what I mean? Like
It used to kill me, man.
I still got pictures where you're like laid out, right? Like,
Sheesh.
but I mean, you used to put in the work, and obviously to
Yeah.
get to the level that you got to, that's what's necessary, right?
Right.
Not
Right.
only in sports, but in in investing, in business, in fatherhood, right? If you got it, then you give it. You know what I mean? If you're with your kids, like you said, they're only going to be there for so long at that age and that moment. And if you got the energy to give, then you give it, right? And so
Right.
I can definitely say that I've known that to be true for you. Um, so with that being said, are you doing anything fitness wise now? Like you still working out a little bit, or what are we doing?
I don't work out like I used to. I wish I miss. I was telling my wife, like, we was what was we watching? I think we was watching uh we was watching the NFL draft. So we are
Yeah,
watching, and they were showing kind of guys working out and stuff. So she was asking me, like, do I miss it? And I was like, I do miss the grind. Like, I don't miss like things like injuries and stuff like that, but I
right.
do
Obviously.
miss just that process. Like, I loved the process more than I just loved it. Like, people when they do things, either if it's like trading, for instance, you have to love the process of getting better. So I
Right.
miss that process. Now I walk, I walk slash run 3 to 4 miles every day, but it's not more so for fitness. It's just more so for my mind, especially having my boys at home.
Yeah.
We all need an outlet. And then we didn't have the gym. So I had like a Peloton. I was in there, challenge. My boy got me onto that. So we were challenging each other,
Yeah.
working with that. But it's not, I do miss that intensity of working out like that. And now that my oldest son, Chaz, he's into sports, so I have to like tone it down a lot because that mentality goes into
Right.
that. So he
Yeah.
was in baseball, and I'm like, well, he's actually in T-ball, but like out here they're doing, it's not even really T-ball. It's like they're doing I think
Coach
five
pitch.
pitches.
Okay.
Yeah, they'll do 5 pitches from a machine
Okay.
or whatever. So, I'm working with him extensively on that. But then I'm like, well, the coach put him like at pitcher, but it's just because he's fast and he can get all the balls in the infield. So I'm like, look, the ball come to you, got to go get it.
Yeah.
So, I'm being a little loud. And my my wife's like, at the time he was 4, he just turned 5 last week. So she's like, he's only 4 years old. So I'm like dialing it back. Like,
Yeah.
so just that, but for me, it just comes from a deeper place. It's just that it's just a privilege to do that, to be able to run, to be able to have the gift of being athletics. Like going back to when you saw me, I mean, it was a blessing that I met you because you opened up just that gym to me, and that was amazing to have that place to train. But I mean, man, I was so hungry for that in that stage.
Yeah.
I wanted it just so bad. I was willing to do everything. Every day was just an opportunity to get better.
Right.
So I wanted to really just black out every day, knowing that I'm prepared. You
Right.
know,
Right.
and that was the biggest thing. So now, I do miss it, but it's more for you know, just my mentals and being able to get them endorphins flowing and get my thoughts together. But I do miss working out like that for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
Do you think you're going to get back into the gym now that things are starting to open up, or you still kind of chill on it?
yeah, yeah. I mean, for sure, man. I mean, I don't. I mean, I have to. I have to. Just being a former athlete, that's kind of a release. You
Yeah.
know, and I had to find a gym like we had where it was just like, because I mean, you like to get it, you like to hit it hard, and in
Yeah.
LA Fitness or something, you can't hit it hard. It's too crowded.
Yeah.
None of the machines are open, so you're like, oh man. So, but I mean, not to say it as an excuse, but it's just it would be great to have that. But
Right.
I for sure would get back into that once things get back to normal.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah. We'll have to talk a little bit after we get off and figure out where you're at, and I can point you in the direction of some people or some gyms, I should say. I don't think you want to get into like, training for the game again, but some gyms that give you the space and opportunity to do some of those more challenging things without having to, stand around and wait for somebody to text in the squat rack kind of situation.
Right.
Yeah, I just start going back to the gym this week. Like I haven't been inside a commercial gym since March of last year.
Me too,
so I was going to the
Sheesh.
gym at work, but even then it was like kind of hard to do because it's limited time, and like, so I haven't really been in the gym like that until this week. And going back to the commercial gym, like it's people everywhere. Like, like, look, man, I just I don't want to be here all day, right? I want to get my work and get out. But like, it's only so many squat racks, all the squat racks are taken. And now that Instagram has got everybody thinking that they're a fitness model. It's tripods set up everywhere and everybody's recording their workout. I'm like, come on, man, get out the way.
Yeah. It's crazy. And especially like, because I'm in front of my screens from like 4 a.m. to like probably 4 in the afternoon. So when you go during that time where it's like happy hour, where everybody's there, and it's like, oh man, like, but I do miss. I seen you on Instagram in that sauna too. I meant to hit you. Yeah, I wanted like a little sauna to get on Amazon, just something to sit in, man, and let, just sweat it out, man. I really, really miss that from the gym as well.
Yeah, that's part of the reason why I got that is, during the pandemic, obviously can't go to the gym. There's no sauna to get into. And so having that just in my garage, you know what I mean? I can get in and take that time. And it's funny because I'll use that time like to meditate sometimes. I mean, obviously I shoot videos in there sometimes, but that's because when I'm in there, just like when I'm doing, like, I don't like to do cardio, but I do it because when I'm moving, I can think better. Right. Like like the posts and stuff that you see from me on Instagram, like if it's anything that I've typed, like if you see like long copy, it's because I was writing while I was typing.
But it's good though. I mean, you hit stuff, I'll be like, man, he hit it right here. Like, yeah, like it's really good. It's really, really good.
Yeah. So like I do my best thinking when I'm sweating, right? Which is why I like working out. Well, not the only reason, but one of the reasons, right? Like it's just that time where I'm with myself, you know what I mean? And I have some of my best thoughts and like, I can just, whatever. It's a cool thing. So yeah, I just got it off of Amazon. Actually, I got it for Christmas. My wife got it for me.
Oh, that's dope. That's dope.
Yeah. But it's super nice to have.
Try to get my wife to give me one for Father's Day then.
Nah, bro, you getting socks and a coffee mug like everybody else.
For real.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Okay, so I got a couple of questions for you. Let me back up. Is there anything that I didn't ask you that I should have, but I just didn't know to?
No. I mean, not that I can think of off the top of my head, but you think of anything, I can just answer them the best way I can.
Okay. And then do you how would people find you online? If you wanted them to. If you wanted to, right?
I'm a ghost.
Yeah, right? I'm a ghost. Snipers don't get seen till it's too late.
Yeah. I've had people be like, hey man, you should start selling this and that. Maybe, man. I'm a student right now. My Instagram is @go21. My Twitter is @go21_, I believe. I don't even know. I don't even tweet really. But I use Twitter a lot for education. That Twitter is amazing. And we'll probably get into that later. But I'm mostly a student, man. I'm I don't have anything to sell or anything. I just a ghost, a sniper.
That's cool. I'm just cool. Just in case though, just in case you decide you want to be a mentor or somebody, a mentee looking to find somebody who has experience. Know, if they follow you and you randomly post something, they get lucky. That's like they should go play the lottery that day. but just in
That's
case,
crazy.
you never know, right? You might decide you want to put something out there. And so I just wanted to make sure I throw that out there before we go any further. Um,
Yeah.
okay, so this is a fatherhood podcast. Obviously, we talked about several things leading up to it, but
Hmm.
what does fatherhood mean to you?
What does fatherhood mean to me?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think it means responsibility. You know, for me, I'm talking about my first child when he first came in, like I was bawling because I seen when he was when he was born, the doctor, like he came out and then the doctor, I guess, took I forget, out his mouth and he started crying.
Mm-hmm.
So that was like we never seen God, but like I seen God in that moment when you
Yeah.
see life come in. So instantly it was like, um, I want to do everything I possibly can to give him the best life, and just in both of them. So, they both look like me. So it's really just that responsibility of it's more than just me and leaving them a legacy and being the person that um, I should be. I was listening to, I think his name is Ed Lilet
Ed
on
Milet.
Instagram. Ed
Yeah.
Milet, yeah.
Yeah.
He had a really good post. I think it was yesterday. He was talking about like who you are, and then when you die, if you believe in God, I believe in God, but when you die, God shows you a person that you should have been.
Ooh.
And it's all about chasing to be that person,
Ooh.
right? So it's like all the all the gifts that you have, being able to, when I'm kind of like how that was my mindset when I was working out, like I have nothing left.
Right.
So when it's over, I tore my Achilles and I was like, I have nothing left. I don't have no regrets because I
Right.
gave it everything that I could possibly give. Every single session I gave it everything I could possibly give. So that's how I look at being a father as well. So every um, piece of time that I have with them, I try my best to mentally be present there.
Yeah.
A lot of times you could be, looking at the market on your phone or looking at this email or this situation, but I mentally try to be as present as possible because that is me trying to be the best father that I can be. You know,
Right.
um, in our generation, well, at least where I come from, my none of my family was entrepreneurs. They didn't have the time. So our parents working all day. And when they
Right.
get home, they tired.
Right.
There's food on there, they want to catch the game. So it's like, it's just none of that time. So I look at it as a privilege of the people that I'm meeting, the people that I'm learning from, things that I've learned that have been shut off for so many years, things about my field is finance, is money. So all these things that I never was taught, never didn't even know about, it's my responsibility to teach them and to pass all that on. So I look at everything from that type of lens of just that responsibility and God allowing these people in my life to learn all these things and being able to pass it on so they can execute, and me executing on it as well is so that all that encompasses fatherhood of just being that leader
Mm-hmm.
for them when they're able to see, being able, how I treat their mom, like that I'm not arguing, how I'm loving her, how we're not arguing, how I'm treating people, and I think my oldest son right now, he's just like, he sees that. So he'll say like hi to people and he'll say like, Dad, you didn't say hi or something like that. So, it's like, he's just really friendly. So he hasn't seen like, I guess, the bad lens of the world,
Right.
which, and then, it's going to come a point in time where I have to, tell him as best as possible, those type of things, especially being, Black in America as well.
Right.
It's tough um, conversations, but also just showing him, letting them both, shine their light, as big as possible. So it's a lot of responsibility that we have, but it's also a blessing. And and to treat it like that somebody's always watching, because they're not always necessarily doing what you want them to do. They're doing what you do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Your mannerisms, when you may get frustrated or certain things like that, they feel that energy and see it.
Right. Right.
So
Yeah. Yeah. I think you kind of hit it there, man. Like people talk about at the end of your life, when you're standing at the gates and you're looking at God, and you want to be able to say, like, I have, like you said, nothing left. Like I used everything you gave me, right? Like
everything.
in Ed's reference, like you want to be able to look at that person or that guy and it like be looking in the mirror. Like I
Right.
used all my potential. Like I met every obstacle with full force, with everything you gave me, right? And
Right.
that is a ongoing, never ending quest, right? That is the process, and
Yes.
right, that is the process that you mentioned earlier. That like you love the process. That is the process, right? Because that
Yeah.
end line, right? If we end up in heaven and that's our end line, then everything we're doing now is a part of the process, right? The ups and downs
Right.
of it, the pullbacks, right? The run-ups, right?
Right.
It's all a part of the
Exactly.
process. And sometimes for us, we get kind of so caught in the middle of it, right? We're like we think the world is on fire, or
Yeah.
the market is crashing. Like, no, dog,
Mm-hmm.
that's normal. That's healthy,
Right.
right? Pull
Right.
back, pull yourself back a little bit and look at the bigger picture, right? Like, and like you
Mm-hmm.
talked about patience earlier too, like in those moments where we're like getting worked up over whatever is happening, it's like, yo, that's a small thing in this whole spectrum of life that we have in front of us. Like, just chill out. Like, it's cool.
Yeah.
That's your
Just
that
relax.
that's your moment, right? That's your opportunity to teach. That's your opportunity to father, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's, I think, I don't know if this is everybody's community, and I can only speak for ours, like the Black community, and is like and whatever people do with their kids is up to them. But like as far as disciplining and whooping and things like that, like I always felt like I never understood it, like when it
Mm-hmm.
happened to me, like I didn't feel like it ever really solved whatever the problem was. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm like, at some point I just realized like you're mad at me or you're mad at whatever happened. And as long as I make sure you don't know I did it again, we're good. you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
like, I didn't learn anything but to like hide it or change it.
That's
Um,
true.
and so
Good point.
for me as a dad, like I want to have these open relationships with my daughters. Sometimes though, like they get a little too cool, right? Like stay in your place kind of situation. Like I feel like that. But then at the same
Yeah.
time, it's like I want them to feel like they can articulate their feelings, right?
Right.
They can talk about what they feel. And then because I'm an adult, I can take that, process it, and figure out how to help them deal with it. Right. And
Yeah.
that's one of the things that I think as men, as fathers, as leaders, that we lead with empathy, and we lead with kind of somewhat of a servant attitude. Like we're the front, right? We're the head and not the tail, and all these things, right? But you have to, in order to be a good leader, you also have to be a good follower, right? Like you have to kind of
Right.
be able to be on their level, and understand it at their level in order to show them how to get to the next level, right? Like,
Right.
and
Yeah. I
and
agree.
that's one of the things I think that helped me with coaching is like I had been in the fire before. Like I was an athlete before, and I know what it was like. I wasn't super gifted, so anything that I got, I had to really work for.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, and so being in a situation where I'm a strength and conditioning coach and I'm training athletes to get faster, stronger, more agile, whatever. Like I had those same struggles. You know what I mean? And I know. Even if I didn't, I can empathize, in those situations. Like I understand what it means, to take rejection or to not be the one that or to not be strong enough, or to realize you're not fast enough. Okay, so now let's work on that. And right, while we're working on that, we're also going to talk about mindset, right? Like I'm gonna slip
Yeah.
those, I'm gonna slip those in there on you mid set, right? In between reps, I'm gonna drop those in there, because that's where the real battle is won. And I think that's even true in fatherhood. Like the
Yeah.
real battle is won upstairs, right? And like, because
Right.
like you said, they see everything you do, right? They see you in your relationship with your wife. They see you in your interactions with other people. And that's not anything that you're saying specifically to them, like, this is how you do it, but they're seeing,
Hmm.
processing it as, oh, this is what dad does, right?
Yeah.
This is how dads act. This is what dads do. And so when I'm a dad, right, or when I'm a man, like my father is a man, then these are the ways that I'm going to act. And that's a big responsibility, right? Like
Yeah.
a lot of people don't
Sure.
realize how big it is as a man, as a father, as a leader of a household. The pressure that comes along with being the one to lead, right? Because you got to lead from the front with your chin up and your chest out. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And it's tough. It's tough. Um,
Absolutely.
so I do want to ask, as your boys grow up, as they are getting older, and kind of getting into more and more things, they put in playing sports already. The younger one isn't ready for it yet, but do you see yourself coaching?
It's something that my wife has really put on me.
Yeah.
Um, we a couple months ago we live, it's a big school, Sierra Canyon, where
Okay.
like like
LeBron. Yeah,
LeBron's
yeah,
kids and all
yeah.
them. So we live right around the corner from there. So we went to a football game, and I'm just watching it. Like I missed that,
Right.
right? So then another mentor of mine, he was like, you're going to want to coach, because when they start doing it, you're going to want to make sure that they're doing it right.
Right.
So I, I'm open to it. I'm not, at first I was like, nah, I never would, but I'm like, it's no reason to fight it. It probably give me another outlet,
Mhm.
mentally, and you don't know who you can impact, like, and who you can help,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
with things, like you, I mean, you know so much as well, like just with even with investing or with business, and especially like mastered your lane of training.
Yeah.
But once you have an athlete like me, and then at the time you could be like, hey, what are you doing with your money? Or
Right.
in this circle, have you thought about um, attaching something, a building of your own? So you have those conversations to plant those seeds,
Right.
because people may think that you know one thing and you've known a multitude of things, a multiple things. So
Right.
yeah, I'm definitely, would open to it. I think that's another thing of patience, because
Yeah.
you have to have a lot of patience for somebody to do it right, and to and to be able to teach is just a whole nother
Right.
lane.
Right.
Be able to articulate what you want and how you want it to be done.
Yeah.
I can't, I can't show my son how I was working,
Right.
because we wasn't really filming like how
Right.
they are now, right? So I
Right.
can't like show you, like, you have to be obsessive with this if you want to be great, or even if you don't, like, you know that I think that's what's required with anything, because they'll spill over to other areas of your life. So you know
Yeah.
I'm open
Yeah.
to it for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. I've wrestled with it, right? Like, because my daughters now are at the point where they're like, we want you to coach. We coach our teams, because they're not playing serious yet. It's still like
Hmm.
city leagues and things like that. So you don't have to have really any experience. You just got to be like the dad on the team that wants to coach. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And for me, it's like, no, I just want to enjoy, because this is what I do for a living. I want
Right.
to just be able to enjoy not coaching and be your dad, right? And and
Mm.
and the other part of it too is because of that kind of level of intensity. Like, I don't want you on the ride home being mad at your coach. You know what I
Which
mean?
is you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I want to be on the ride home. Like, hey, how was practice? How was everything? What was coach talking about? Oh, okay, cool. Let me help you with how you can do that maybe a little better. Or this is what they mean by that. I want that kind of relationship. I don't want it to be like,
Yeah.
you can't talk to me on the car ride home, and now for the next 2 days you're mad at me because I said
Yeah.
something about the way you did something at practice.
Yeah.
And they don't get that yet, right? And that's going to take a lot of work for me, because I think I am going to do it
Mm-hmm.
this year, because I'll have the time to do it now that I'm changing my whole work situation.
Yeah.
And I'll have the time freedom to be able to do it. I'm definitely going to have to pull my coach hat back a little bit, and kind of be a little not looser, because I hate that, right? Like their standard, right? You have to keep your standard. Because if you lower your standard, then this is a quote, right? You lower your standard, you keep the losers, but you also
Mm-hmm.
lose the winners, right? Like if your standard is
Mm.
low, the winners don't want to hang around a bunch of losers, right? So you got to keep the standard
Yeah.
high. And my standard, even though they're like 8 and 6, like there's a certain, I understand it. I work with 8-year-olds and 6-year-olds, like, but there's a level that I need you to hit, and it's not personal. And that's the thing I tell them all the time. Like, even when we go, well, sometimes we just go play and sometimes we go practice. And I tell them, like, this is not personal. Like, for the next 30 minutes, I'm going to coach you. Right. And I know it's going to be hard to look at me and be like, daddy's telling me to do this. No, I'm just coaching you. Right. It's not personal. I still love you. Right.
Yeah.
But you did that wrong. That's not how we do it. Like, that's just not it. Like, go
Yeah.
back and go back to the line. Right. That's
Do it
not how we
again.
do it.
Yeah.
And so they want me to coach. They think it's going to be fun, and I hope it is.
I
Like,
think it's gonna be fun.
yeah. Like, I need, I'm gonna, because like you said, a bullet really only knows one speed. You know what I mean? And
Yeah. Yeah. For
if I'm
sure.
gonna be effective at coaching you, if we're just gonna go have fun, then cool. Like, if that's what the season is, it's one of those seasons where, like, yeah, like this year, for example, them playing soccer this year was kind of like, eh, it's kind of a wash. They weren't going to play any games, so they were just practicing. And then all of a sudden, at the end of the season, they had like 4 games back to back. It was like super weird.
Mm-hmm.
I probably could have coached this year because it was just practice, like, working on drills and skills and things like that.
Right. Right.
It's stuff that I do anyway. But next year, right, when the world opens back up and we playing games on the weekend, or tournaments on the weekends, and games and practices throughout the week. Now that's real, right? And now,
Yeah.
like, it's starting to get to a point for my oldest daughter, and she's playing 10U now, and she's young, so she has to play up. But they're getting at a level, especially with girls, because they top out at college. Like, everything gets serious sooner, right? And so they're
Mm.
getting to a point now where she's starting to play, and these girls are like, they running around doing the thing with the ball. Like, they got real ball control, and the goalies are good. And I'm like, yo,
Mm.
it's starting to get real, right? For
Yeah.
even for you as a 10-year-old, like, it obviously it's not at the level of my college girls, but it's getting, where some of these girls is really good with the ball, right?
They're
Off
starting to
ball too.
separate.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
they understand spacing, and they're putting themselves in the right position. And I'm like, baby, you gotta pay attention. Like, you look, we need you to look, hey man, we got to go out there on the weekend and get in some
Mm.
work. And so I hope they understand it. And I'm gonna do my best not to beat them up too much, but it is what it
Yeah.
is.
I get it. I get it. I get it.
All right.
That's
So
funny.
uh before I let you go, right? Before I let you go, if you had any advice, right? Any advice for um a new or expecting dad, right? Somebody who is about to be a father, or somebody who's kind of in that range of where you're at, like you have a 5-year-old and maybe under. Um, what advice would you, or even shoot, ain't none of us perfect. I'm sure you got whatever you say right now. I'm gonna take away and use, because I'm a student of being a father. Like, I want to be the best father I can be, so I'm taking advice from everybody and using it accordingly. But what advice do you have to other dads, that you've learned in the process of becoming a father?
Um, I think the biggest thing for me, like I've said before, is just to be as patient as possible, be loving, and to be just try to be as present, as possible. A guy I really like on YouTube, Instagram is I think his name is Mr. Jason Wilson.
Yeah, I just started
And
following him.
oh my gosh, man, because he's in the martial arts lane.
Hmm.
So the stuff that the way he talks to not only his son but his I don't know, I guess his pupils that he
Hmm.
coaches, it's always from like a loving father. It's always that, like he's never like cussing them out. It's
Right.
always talking to them in like in a teaching manner of like, what have you learned from this? How would you analyze this? So I think that's how, just my advice is just to be like, because you're raising these little, infants and these little boys, and then one day they're going to become a man. So you want to give them as many jewels as possible, or even I'm sorry, even like a daughter, right?
Hmm.
Like, just trying to be a great man for them. So when they looking up, they're like, my dad was incredible,
Right.
So I always try to, operate in that mindset and just to be as present as possible because the time goes by so fast.
Right.
You don't want to look back and be like, I wish I would have did this. Like it goes back to what we're talking about, just um, be exhausted with just trying to be the best father. I think Kobe was talking about like, he would be at the gym all day and then when he come home, they would want to play. And he's like, look, I have to, as hard as I win the gym, I have to go as hard being a father,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it's two different roles, man. It's two different jobs. So just try to operate like that and just and love it, man. I have people that I know, man, who just like they've had a kid with a girl and just never take care of them. And I can't even fathom that. It just it like it hurts me and it makes me angry. You know, especially like a boy that looks like you.
Right.
So, just really try to see it from that lens, man, of a kid looking up to you and you just being the best possible person for them, in every endeavor. I know it gets very, very stressful at times, but it is a privilege to be a father for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's dope, man. I don't think I could say
And
any.
and I'm sorry,
Oh,
and
go
working
for
out
it.
too. And working out too, because we do, you start to get fat. You try to get the dad bod, at times too as well. So
Yeah.
it's important to be healthy,
Right.
and we all falter from that, but to be healthy and to be fit for them, because I mean, you want to live as long as possible, that you can
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
them wise and control what you can control.
100%. 100%. Before I'm gonna piggyback off that a little bit because I talked about that in the first episode. Is if you love fatherhood the way that I love fatherhood and the way I can tell that you love fatherhood, you want to be a father for as long as possible, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you want to be the kind of father you want to be for as long as possible. And the only way to do that is to take care of your health and your fitness, right?
Right.
Because it sucks and it happens to a lot of people. And I had a scare because my dad had like a heart issue when I was like 15 or something like that. And then
Mm.
more recently he has cancer now, but it's in remission, so we're good, God willing.
Right. Yeah.
um but like looking at him and thinking, yeah, as a 15-year-old, like he hasn't seen me become the man that he's trying to raise me to be. Like,
Mm.
and it was devastating for me. And I can imagine like my daughters, you know what I mean? Or like how I would feel. I guess I wouldn't feel anything if I was gone, right? But like, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
that moment, like not being able to see the process through, you
Right.
know. um so it's super important, man. The health part is super important. Obviously I'm biased on that regard, but the health piece is something that I think we kind of miss the boat on a lot. And we will, and here's the funny thing is we'll use our family as an excuse for why we can't do it. Like, oh,
Yeah.
the kids
All the
don't eat
time.
that way. Kids don't eat like that, and so I can't eat like that. Or, I don't have the time to work out because I'm
Yeah.
coaching, I'm running the kids back and forth. Like we'll use them as the reason why we let our health go. Like, um, But that's one of those
Jeez,
legacy
man.
things, right? I know you talked about it a little bit earlier, like uh, leaving them, financial things, not only like actual property, but the knowledge on how to do it. But
Yeah,
like the fitness thing is a legacy thing too, because if they see you working out and they see you eating healthy and taking care of your body, just like everything else, right? When they see you do it, they're going to do it.
they're gonna do it. Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
And now you're talking about your family tree or your line is getting longer because they're lasting longer because of what you taught them.
yeah,
So that's
yeah.
generational wealth too, right?
Absolutely.
Having like, because I know there's, I don't know, maybe it's just the women in my family. The dudes in my family, they live to a certain age, but like my great grandmother was 104. My grandmother is like 86 right now, and she looks like she's 65 and still running around like nothing's wrong with her.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
geez.
Like, so they live a long time, like, so they get to be a part of everyone's life, and that's what we want, right?
It's
Like,
amazing, man.
I want to be a great granddad, you know what I mean? But I don't want to be the great
Yeah.
granddad that's, in the back room of the house. And I'm in the, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Uncle Pete.
yeah, I'm in the bed and you got to come back there and see me when you come over, or else I'm gonna be mad. Like, I
Yeah,
want to be out in
that's
the
real.
front room. I want to be in the front room. You know what I mean?
That's real. That's real.
I want to be
That's
active,
real.
So that health piece is super important. But I'm not gonna keep you too much longer, man. I do want to, my takeaways from talking to you. My takeaways
Hmm.
are patience, right?
Yeah.
Be mindful, be patient, be present, right? Make sure you
Hmm.
give 100% to everything you do, but especially your fatherhood. I'm sure there's like several other things people could take away, but those are the 3 or 4 things that I'm gonna definitely run away with and make sure that I'm checking myself on those, because those are the things that I think we all struggle with. I know I do at times, and so I'm gonna definitely take our conversation and apply it to my life and make sure that I'm doing all the things that I need to do to be the
Yeah.
father.
And I would say another thing too that I'm doing. One more thing is like
Go for it.
that would be really cool is like when you, I guess, become very successful at whatever you're doing, whether it's building a business or whatever it is, like to just document or leave something on how you did it. Like,
Yeah.
we're in like the social media age. I mean, I don't post a lot, so they probably couldn't fall back on that, but like some type of blueprint where it's like, even to get your thoughts on certain periods of your life, right?
Yeah.
Like, like you said your daughter's is 10 and what's the youngest?
No, she 8 and 6. 8 and 6.
8 and 6. So 8 and 6. So it's like to see your thought and what you were going through during that time for them to either read it or to see it, like I think that's really cool because I wish I could see that being a man when I was 5 and my sister's 5 years younger than me, but when I was 10 and 5 and when my dad was dealing, those
Yeah.
type of issues. And
Right.
then it just helps with the mindset, of like, why didn't you quit when this happened? Or why, what I'm saying? Just
Right.
these certain types of adversity. How would you, um, what were you thinking? What would you recommend?
Right.
And then even like stuff like, okay, you done this for 20 years or something. What skill would you leave me with that?
Right.
That's stuff that's just not passed down as well. That just helps as well,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
for
That's.
sure, man.
I'm trying to let you go, but you keep giving me more. So
What's that?
look, I was talking about this on something I posted on Facebook, I believe, and it was like, how many of us like had a father, like how many of our fathers had a fatherhood conversation with us, right? And a lot of the responses were, my
Man.
dad never talked about it, he showed me through action. But the
Yeah,
problem I see with that is like it can be misinterpreted. Like what you saw as a 10-year-old, right, may have you have no context as a 10-year-old to what this adult is going through and how they're
right.
acting and what they're doing and why they're doing it. And so without us having these conversations and then taking these conversations and having conversations with our kids, and for you with 2 sons, like they're going to be fathers at some point. um they're going to make you a grandfather, and you have the opportunity to talk about not only the business, not only the fitness, but hey, man, when you're a father, this is X, Y, and Z, right?
Yeah.
When you're a dad and you're, you know, the leader of your household, or you've got a little person looking up to you, this is why I did some of the things that I did. And having those conversations, because a lot of us don't get those until we're already a father, right?
Right.
And then all of a sudden our dad is like, oh man, you won't believe, you know, and then they start telling us, I'm like, y'all, it's too late. Like, you know, or they'll be like, y'all, I remember when you were 8 and you did this just like I was like, you couldn't have told me that when she was 7. Like, you know what I mean? Like, why you let me experience it first? Then you're going to tell me like, I could have told you that. No, you just tell me. Why didn't you tell me? But I think,
you know, God forbid, like nothing, if something happens to you, you didn't allow your autobiography to get written. You know, like you weren't able to see, you know, Steve Jobs or something build Apple, or whatever you build at your life, like to be able to document that, to send them something in an email or something. Like we have like emails of both our kids, and every year we send them messages and stuff. And I'm building like a book for them of just everything I've learned, so that it's all, even if they do nothing with it, like it's there.
Right.
You know, so it's not like you didn't come in with nothing. So it's just like, you know, leaving them something, man. And, you know, mentally we know how hard it is, you know, even with just like the mental health and everything, for them to be able to relate and how you came up out of that, I think is important and be cool for them to know, you know?
Yeah. Okay. So I gotta start documenting everything right now. We have the emails. And then, you know, it's funny, when my oldest daughter was born, my mom bought me like a journal, and it's got like these not daily prompts, but it's got like however many pages, and it's got prompts, and it's for your kids, right? And it's like, this is the story of your dad. And I was really heavy into it when she's first born. And now I got to go back, because I know like there's parts that I left out, and now I'm thinking, as you said it, like I probably need to like adjust some things, and there's now new things that I can add, because, you know, that was 8 years ago, right? And so now I got to kind of rewrite that and then continue writing it, because I haven't even looked at it since I finished it. And there's been years of important, I think, valuable information that can be left, like you said, left behind for them. Even if she reads it once, or she starts to read it and goes, right? At least I can rest knowing that I gave everything. Like, I took it out of my brain and put it on paper for her to have, or for them to have.
I agree, man. That's so cool.
Yeah. All right, brother.
So cool.
I'm gonna let you go officially now, and I appreciate you being on the podcast. I appreciate you taking the time out of your day. I know how important time is for us as men, as fathers, and I appreciate you taking the time to share your experience with all of us, right? And again, I'm taking those 4 things, and I'm gonna capitalize on them. Trust me.
Hey, man, I appreciate you inviting me, man. It's been good to talk. You know, just to share thoughts is all awesome. It's really cool, man. Really, really cool.
All right.
All right, brother.
All right, bro.
Oh, yeah.